asked to come by and say a couple of things following our meeting with Robbie's. I can only think of one verse, one poem that was very befitting. It's one I used 21 years ago with my father. It holds a special meaning in my heart. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what matters most was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time they spent alive on earth, and now only those who loved them know what little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be arranged. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash may only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about you and how you lived your dash?
So once our local club decided that a bench was the way that we wanted to honor Dr. Judy Bush, we asked the Attica administrative team to come up with what type of bench they would like, with inscription and where they want it to be located. And we really appreciate them doing that. We think they did a great job. And tonight we have with us the current superintendent, Sherry Hardman.
Hello and welcome to the Attica High School for this special dedication. I want to thank the Attica Williamsport Rotary Club for reaching out and partnering with the school for this memorial. While I didn't know Dr. Bush personally, I have talked with many people that did know her and work with her, and I found that she was really a pioneer for women administrators. She was a superintendent at a time when there were only a handful of women superintendents. Area administrators that worked with her tell me that she was very straightforward. You never had to guess what she was thinking or wanted to do. Others have said she was able to hold her own during meetings and in her thinking and what she wanted to do. She was able to work during a time where she really paved the way for female superintendents in our state. I have also reached out to some of our staff members, one of which is here tonight, and asked them to tell me a little bit about their time working with Dr. Bush and their memories of her. Mrs. Haley, who is our math teacher and worked with Dr. Bush, said, "One word that comes to mind as I think about Dr. Bush is present. She was always present everywhere within the school. No matter the event, big or small, near or far, you would see Dr. Bush. If it was a sporting event, she always had her popcorn. When her office was in the elementary, you often saw her with her dog Tully. If you came in on the weekend to work, she was devoted to Attica, both the school and the community. She was always kind and would listen to what anybody had to say. Plus, she would always greet you with a warm smile." Mrs. Mattern also contributed a nice story that I'll share with you here too. She says, "I have several fond recollections of Dr. Bush. For one, she enjoyed visiting classrooms and would pop in just to see what was happening, often joining in on discussions or activities for a few minutes. She always appeared comfortable with her students and sincerely wanted to know how they were progressing. Dr. Bush loved Attica sports, especially basketball. It seemed she rarely missed a game, and occasionally she might have some questions and even advice for the coach. Lastly, Dr. Bush wasn't conventional or worried about social norms too much. She popped by our house one day in January unexpectedly to see if we were watching the presidential inauguration, which we weren't. Judy was surprised by that and suggested we just sit right down and watch it with her. So we
I
did.
remember that.
The political discourse that followed proved to be pretty interesting. Dr. Bush was a woman of integrity, grit, and she had a tremendous work ethic. Dr. Bush led during some of the most exciting times at Attica schools. Our new auditorium and auxiliary gym were built, along with 2 science labs and 4 classrooms. Our boys basketball team won the state 1A championship, and our football team were runners-up in the state football championship. Dr. Bush spent 12 years providing strong leadership to the Attica schools, and for that, the students, staff, and community members that she worked with here are forever grateful for her. I want to thank the Attica Williamsport Rotary Club again for reaching out and partnering with the school to do something special for Dr. Bush as a memorial to her, as it is an honor to be part of her memory as well as her legacy.
Our club is very lucky that we have amongst our membership a past district governor, and Judy Hollander, you're going to speak next.
Thank you. There is, in Rotary, sort of an unwritten rule that we don't discuss politics or religion. I never was one to really follow rules, so we're going to talk about religion. And I want to talk about Judy as a way that some of you perhaps don't know her. Judy was a woman of God. She was a God-fearing woman. She was true to her church. She was true to her beliefs. Judy didn't go around town trying to change you to her church or trying to get you to believe like her. Judy showed her religion the way all of us should show our religion, by the kindness and the generosity of her acts that she did to everyone, to every day. Judy often, in my years of knowing her, when she had plenty of opportunity to gossip or speak ill of someone, I never ever heard Judy say a bad word about anyone. And I'm thankful for the time that I got to know her and for the leadership, whether in school or church or wherever, that Judy was showing. Has shown us. She is, she was, will always be a God-fearing woman, a great woman, a kind woman. Thank you.
Okay, well, there's so many things to be said about Judy, and one of the things that I could think of was she was very dedicated to the school. She was dedicated to our community and making our school and our community better. One of the first things she did when she was superintendent is she spent several days meeting with teachers, 1 grade level at a time, down in her office, and she wanted to know how we could make our school better. And so I think she did that with every grade level. She met with, I think, the kitchen staff, she met with the custodial staff, and I think she probably met with the bus drivers. And she wanted to know how to make our school better. And that's what her goal was. She was ubiquitous. I thought there were more than one of her because she was everywhere at the same time. She would spend the day like in classrooms and out and going to sporting events. And then she would spend the wee hours of the morning doing the paperwork and the stuff that she needed, the preparation, with her dog, usually in her office. But you could see her light on in the wee hours of the morning because she spent the day going around and visiting classrooms and sporting events, just being present, like they said. She was just a dedicated woman. And our school was better for having her.
I'm Michelle Stuckey. I'm the current president of our local Rotary Club, and I was teaching at Fountain Central during these years, so being in the same county, I did hear from time to time or read something in the newspaper about Dr. Bush, but unfortunately I never got to meet her in person. But I remember after she passed away, the first club meeting that we had, we went around the room and everyone told stories and brought up fond memories, and I thought, I really wish I would have been able to have known her. It sounds like she was a really great person. And so I talked to some club members about some of those qualities that she possessed, that everyone would want to possess. And we watched the video earlier, and one of the things that was in the video was that she was welcoming, but that was also one of the things that our club members said, that she was welcoming, dedicated, committed, and thoughtful. Those are 4 words that all of us would wish that anybody would say about us. The stories that the club members told about the things that she did to go the extra mile for them when she wouldn't have had to, like walking with someone to their car when it was dark because she could tell that they were a little bit apprehensive being in Indianapolis, and so she offered to walk to her car with the other individuals so they felt safe. And when one of the members' wife was out of town and the dog passed away, the Bushes took him out to dinner to console him for the loss of their family dog. And even though there was a ice storm going on, she still drove to a visitation because a Rotary family member had passed away. Those are just amazing little snippets of what a wonderful life lived and what a wonderful lady that I really wish I would have gotten to know.
So, they said something about telling some stories, and I wasn't sure I could do it. But then I got to thinking, how do I come up with stories after 12 years? I see all your faces, and I have stories, you know, but I don't think I ought to be telling them here. So I'll try to clean it up just a little bit. Well, okay, the first story is about this. And so the first thing she did was break ground for this edition, right? And you had a deadline you wanted to get it finished by, and somehow you had scheduled the Purdue Glee Club to be at the grand opening, and the contractor said, well, we're not going to have it open, and she said, yes, you are. You're going to have it open. And the other thing was something was on the, and so when they saw her coming with her punch list, they kind of tried to avoid her. And one day there was something going on the roof, and either the contractor told me later or somebody told me later, okay, so here's Judy climbing up, and she shows up on the roof, and the guys are saying, we can't even get on the roof to avoid her. That's one of the stories. But it was such a good time to be here. We had such a great time, and she just enjoyed this whole community and the schools. It was just a wonderful time. Well, okay, another story involves where we are right now. Part of the addition to this was a fitness center. So, Mark, we showed up every morning about 5:30 to go to the fitness center, and I would take Tully, our dog, or most of you know Tully, and we'd walk all the way around the perimeter. I'd go up and do my exercises, and I said, well, Tully and I are going to do ours. So we would walk around the perimeter. And you all have an image of what a superintendent's supposed to be and what you think of them. Well, so Tully's walking along, and we never had him on a leash, and he walks around something down there, and all I did was catch a glimpse of something black and white, and it was too late. We had been sprayed. And so we came in the car, right? So what do you have to do? The superintendent has to go home, get her husband's truck, come back, and put her husband and the dog in the back of the truck and take them home. Luckily, nobody saw us, and there were no security cameras. That was one of the stories. The other story, I'm not sure I can get through this one. And I won't name any names, but there was a teacher who was having a hard time, down on her luck, and the car he had failed on the way. Anyway, he was here without a car, and somehow the word got to Judy, and so she called me, and I brought my truck in, and she said, use it however long you want to use it. You know, that was who she was. But anyway, she's had a good time. She had another life after this life, okay? all the hours that she was putting in here, she filled them up with volunteer hours and everything we did after we moved. And it was a good life. It's just, it's sad that it had to end, you know. She had so much to offer, but we had a good life here. It was, I do have so many stories, but we can't talk forever on it. And I remember the one thing she really enjoyed. She was always junior high and high school all her career, but when she came here, her office was in the elementary building, and so had all these little kids all the time around her. They would line up outside her door to go somewhere, you know, and if she went out, well, where's Tolly? Where's Tolly? You know, she would always talk about the dog, and it was so much fun. I think she even ate lunch with them sometimes. Go sit down and eat lunch with them, and so it was really good to have her in the elementary school. I remember building the office, the administration office. You know, a lot of it had to do with construction and sports. And if I could have done it tonight, we would all had a bag of popcorn, because she probably ate more popcorn in Attica than she'd eaten any time in her life, you know. And they joked about naming the popcorn stand after her at the football field. So anyway, I could go on, but just thank you all. Thank you very much. It was a very, very, very special time in our lives.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Thank you.